Hello to another episode of Your Leader Story brought to you by Frankly. And I am very excited today because we have Alex Wilcox, founder and managing director of Engage, a digital marketing agency based in Leeds. They became the city's first BCorp back in 2020 and have recently become employee owned, as if BCorp wasn't enough. Welcome, Alex.
Hi, Hallie, thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for giving up your time to do this. I'm really interested in getting into the questions that I've got for you about your leader journey. How are you feeling as we begin?
Uh, yeah, fine. It's the first time I've done something like this, so hope I don't miss
Oh,
it.
that does surprise me. I thought you'd be on podcast left, right, and centre.
Well, no, I picked them carefully, Jed.
Ah, I feel very flattered then. Shall we dive straight in?
Yeah, let's do it.
So, first question. When you were younger, did you ever dream about becoming a leader?
I'm just going to have to say no, I don't think.
Most people do.
I was going to say, like, I don't think I'd have known what a leader was when I was young. I think I was more interested in probably becoming an astronaut or maybe an ice cream flavor inventor or something like that. So, no, I think is the
No.
answer to that one. But
What
I'd be
what
impressed.
ice cream flavour would you have invented?
Oh, I don't know, something like bubblegum unicorn and rainbow flavor. I don't know, but you can probably get that
Something
now.
wild.
But yeah, so no, I didn't. If anyone was thinking of a leader when they were young, I'd be quite impressed.
It's not like something you had on your kind of career vision board, is it? I want to be a leader
No,
when I grow up.
I think I did one of those things at school where they tell you what career you want to be, and it answered all the questions, and it came out as a midwife, which I thought was quite interesting.
Oh, did it?
Yeah. Needless to say, I didn't become a midwife, but I wonder what it
No.
was about my personality and answers that led it to the computer to spit that one out. I'll never know, but there you
You're
go.
good at birthing things.
Yeah, maybe.
You have birthed Engage into the world.
Well, true.
So sticking with kind of younger age, so like school years, college, that kind of phase, what did you think about? Like, did you have any concept of being a leader or any experience of being part of things that you were kind of naturally taking a leadership role, but you might not have thought of it as being a leader back then?
Yeah, I think I was definitely quite active when I was younger. I was always joining clubs, doing sports, playing in sports teams and things. Because basically, I was an only child. My parents couldn't have any more kids, and I think they felt like this obligation to, because I didn't have brothers and sisters, they wanted to make sure I was, had a lot of friends around me instead to kind of fill the gap. So they were always pushing me to kind of, yeah, go and join stuff. And I remember always at summer camps, and I used to go to the YMCA summer camps and things. And it was great, right? Because it kept me out of the house, which is probably one of the reasons they did it, was to get rid of me. I'm sure they wouldn't say that was true. But also, I was forced to make friends. I was forced to
Yeah.
interact with others. I was doing team sports. I was out and about. I was active. And I think I was just meeting a lot of new people all the time. And I think that generally just probably helped with my overall confidence, I suppose. And just being comfortable around people, introducing myself into groups and just sparking up conversations. And I think that meant I wasn't particularly shy. I think I was probably quite a confident young person, which maybe confidence is probably one of the, leadership takes many forms, right? But confidence is probably one of the more common traits, maybe, of leadership that you'd
Yeah.
come across.
Yeah.
And then I did a lot. I guess one of the things I did quite a lot of acting when I was younger as well. I don't tell many people that, but I joined like I said one of the clubs my parents kind of encouraged me to join. There was a local acting group called Stage One. So I was
Ah,
basically
I know that.
I grew up in Grimsby, so I was born in Grimsby, and I lived there till I was about 15. I joined this Stage One, which was just around the corner from our house, and actually that was great. It was I remember I was Oliver and Oliver Twist. That's probably my
Oh, a
one.
lead role.
Oh, I know, and but I think that really built my confidence as well. It goes without
Yeah.
saying. I think
Yeah, yeah.
getting pushed to go and stand on stage and sing and dance and act in front of a big audience. Well, sorry, a smallish
Good
audience
thing.
of your parents, friends and family. I think that really probably boosted my confidence even further. I was always nervous. I still get nervous about big public speaking things, but
Yeah.
it doesn't frighten me. And also, that group was a real mix of ages. So there were adults in there. If you think the Oliver one, I was Oliver, but then there was Fagin and all these older. And I think I was immersed in just a real wide range of people
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
my age up to probably 20s, 30s and stuff. And I think just all that probably just contributed towards a general rounding of just being able to speak to people and building that confidence. So
Yeah, and
yeah, that's
those people skills are important, aren't they, as a leader? Like that to have an ease around people and talking to people and connecting with them.
yeah, I think the ability to build connections quickly with a wide range of people and personality types. I think that's probably something I've honed over the years. A bit of a chameleon in a way. I find it quite
Yeah,
easy to talk to
yeah.
anyone. And I suppose that probably maybe does stem from an early age, and it does mean that conversation is easy. So if I get thrown into I don't particularly like networking events, but I get thrown into an event or having to go on my own to an event and meet people and do some networking and stuff. Yeah, I'm not, I don't love it. I'm not like, I love networking, just tell me to all the networking
Said
events.
anyone ever?
Yeah, but in that situation, I don't feel particularly uncomfortable, and obviously once I do spark up the conversations, they always turn into quite good evenings, and you meet some good contacts and stuff. So,
So I've learned something new about you today, that you've got an acting background, which
all
I'm
right.
very excited to learn. But I've got to ask, does that mean you can also sing?
Ha! Well, I think I can growl. I was the lion in the Wiz at university, which wasn't really singing. That was more shouting.
You
Um,
didn't sing in Oliver.
I did. I sang "Where Is Love" with my little bowl of gruel. It
Oh,
actually exists on VHS somewhere, but
I thought you were going to say the internet then. She was
no,
running off to Google.
it will never. It will never exist on the internet. But I guess you'd probably say before my voice broke, I guess I could probably have an
Oh,
angelic voice. Obviously now it's maybe a little bit huskier, but yeah, I'm not going to win X
you're
Factor, but
tuneful.
I can probably, I'd probably get through the first. No, I wouldn't get through the first round. Actually, I'm flattering myself. But yeah, I can probably piece
You know
together.
when your team watches this, they're going to get you on karaoke.
Oh God. Well, hopefully then.
So moving forward, what was your first leadership role? What was your actual first position of leadership?
Um, I think it was. I guess you're looking back, it wasn't really a leadership role. I guess my first role was a junior web designer coming out of university. But it was an interesting role really because even though I was a junior, the internet was so raw then and so fast paced, and no one really knew what they were doing. It was just wow, the internet's here. Let's all go and do stuff on it and build websites. And it was all a bit of the Wild West. But I think in there was a lot of opportunity to kind of jump on new trends, look at new ways of working, bring innovation. I remember even though I was a junior, I really had my finger on the pulse of what was going on, and quite often I'd kind of go to the owners of the business and say, right, this is the way the technology is moving. This is what we should be backing. This is the way we should be building websites. These are the and and to do that, I had to always present a business case to them and say, right, this is how we should be doing stuff. And I guess as a junior, I remember, I think I was on 13 grand at the time. I was on the lowest rung of the ladder here, but I still kind of used to pitch these ideas and go to the owners of the business and almost say, look, I think we should be doing this. And I think getting people, a good leadership trait, I think you've got to get people to want to follow you, haven't you? You've got to be able to
Yeah.
sell them your idea or sell them your vision, sell them your dream, and get them to come on that journey with you. So even though it was only small scale, I do think back in those early days, I was trying to, yeah, trying to convince people to believe in my ideas, even though I was at a young age. And I'd like to think that they did from time to time. I'm sure not all of them landed well, but so even though it wasn't a leadership role, I think it had elements of it within it. And I
Yeah,
guess
definitely.
and I guess
Like
then
taking initiative as well is what I'm hearing in that example. We're saying, frankly, that leaders lurk everywhere in businesses, and then that it shouldn't just be if you've got the title of leader, you're a leader. Like you can be a leader anywhere in an organization because you can lead in many different ways. And actually, if you had an organization that was completely full of people who knew how to lead and were stepping into that leadership energy, then it'd be quite a powerful organization to work in.
yeah, definitely. I see people in our business who I'd say leaders, just because you just see they've got a bit of that charisma and gravitas, and people kind of just are drawn to them a little bit. But they might not be in traditional leadership positions yet, but maybe they'll evolve into that over time. So that was probably my first role, and then I guess starting Engage was probably my real true journey into leadership. So that was back in 2007, which was quite a while ago now, 17 years or something.
A long
So
time ago.
yeah, and I guess
Being
that.
pointed.
Yeah, and that's been, I guess, a slow but gradual evolution from almost being on the tools. In the early years, I was still designing and building websites, but obviously, I was wearing many hats. I was going down to London and pitching a lot, and doing finance and account management and all these things. Well,
Doing
and then
everything.
Yeah, a little bit of everything, but I love that as well. I think I'm probably a bit of a jack of all trades, really. And then as we've grown and employed more people who are far better than me at doing the work, I've then moved into, I guess, a more traditional leadership role, which is more around, the strategy and vision for the business, attracting talent. I think that's kind of a big one, attracting the best people, because essentially they say, don't they,
Yeah,
surround yourself with people better than you, and I firmly believe in that. But also, you've
yeah,
got to attract those
absolutely.
people, and make them believe in your story, and wanting to come and work at Engage. Um, and I guess I've learned a hell of a lot along the way. I've probably made a lot of mistakes as well, but just in how to manage people, I suppose. Now there's getting towards 60 of us, so I guess we've not grown. We've grown slowly and gradually over those years, but I'm really proud of the team that we've got and the business that we've built. So hopefully we've done a few
Yeah.
right along the way.
And I've always admired that about you and engage with your mission is to, almost like you've made a conscious effort to go against the norm in your industry, and you're constantly asking what does good look like for us, what is healthy for us. And I think that's really admirable, given where we are with planet in particular.
Yeah, I think we've always had a feeling of doing the right thing and the balance of profit with purpose, I suppose, which led to the B Corp certification
Yeah.
and also the people element as well. It's more commonplace now. I think, all businesses have an eye on those things, not just the finances. But I think maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it was quite different. I think we had a reputation of really focusing on culture, and now everyone focuses on culture. You can't not focus on culture, whether it's
Well,
authentic or
I
not.
might
That's a
argue
question.
with you otherwise there, Alex.
Okay, well maybe they don't then. I don't know. We've not got it always got it right, but that's always been, I guess, ingrained into, businesses are molded in the vision and values of the leaders, aren't they? And
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah,
set the engagement
largely.
myself. I set it up with my co-founder Dave, a guy called Dave Wrightson. He's no longer in the business. He exited a few years ago. So we did that journey together for about 15 years, and we were a really great pairing through that. And I think that contributed a lot to our growth and success.
Great. So, just thinking about leadership in general, is there anything that you love about it?
No.
Don't believe you.
No, look, I really enjoy. I love seeing the team thrive. I guess I really like it when you set a direction of travel. You have a big, guys, we're backing this. This is what we're doing. You devise and execute the plan. Yeah, with the help of, we've got a great team and a great senior leadership team. This isn't all me anymore. But everyone, we almost say, right, we're doing this, and it works. And you see it's works, and you see the team are, loving it, and everyone's like really on board, and they're coming into work with a bit of purpose, and there's a real buzz around the studio. And I love agencies because they're fast paced and they're hard. Yeah, agency
Yeah,
life
yeah,
is hard, and it can burn people out, and it's intense, and clients can be difficult, and it's fast paced, and all these things. But that also is what makes it great.
yeah,
Agents when they're at their best and everyone's communicating well, and you're doing fantastic work, and clients are happy, and you're winning awards. It's an amazing place to be. And I guess I love it when that all aligns and we get those periods where we're just at our best as a business, and I really enjoy that part of it. And I also enjoy, like,
what just on that, what do you see as your role as leader? Like what is it that you're doing as a leader that you think enables that?
mm,
Because that, like, cultures are incredibly slippery things to manage.
yeah,
And that's why I think a lot of companies do find it hard to create a good culture. And what you're describing there, it's like that kind of environment doesn't happen by accident. It happens in because of
mm.
intention. So what do you think you're contributing into that creates that magic?
I think, create magic. I think I think it's presence. I'm always mindful, even, work from home a couple of days a week, but I think you've got to be around, you've got to be visible. How can people believe and want to follow if you're never there?
Yeah.
Energy, even having a bad day, I try to think that I'll always turn up and I'll be excited and I'll chat to people, and people will think that I'm on board and I'm pushing for it and I'm excited. I don't just take a back seat there. So I guess, yeah, the presence, excitement, just, yeah, like, I'm trying to think of anything else. Um, yeah, I just think,
You're a very values driven organization, aren't you? So do you see yourself as having a role of role modeling those values as well in terms of behavioral? Because that's a big factor of culture.
Yeah, I mean, our values, we've got attention to digital is one of our values. Obviously, it's a bit of a play on attention to detail. I think that came from just having, when we were in our early years, we just cared about the small stuff that other people would overlook. And I think we developed a reputation for quality.
Yeah.
I think that was good. We've got your typical values. Actually, we're looking at maybe an exercise to review them now that we're employee owned. But, things like integrity. I'd like to think in 17 years, I've conducting myself with integrity, and I think, and that links into the point about leadership, which is
Yeah.
consistency.
Yeah, and trust.
I've got 17 years, I suppose, under my belt of consistently, I'd hope, exhibiting the behaviours of transparency, integrity, trust, and all those things that now hopefully people have allowed people to get on board with that, I suppose. But that takes time. Trust takes
Yeah.
time to build, and you can
Yeah.
undo that very quickly as well. So maybe the consistency bit, turning up every day, having the right attitude, being positive, and being consistent in my behaviours over a long period of time has probably been a contributor to kind of the growth we've had.
Brilliant. And so, counter question: is there anything that you find hard, or what are the hardest, most challenging bits about being a leader?
Oh, there's loads of things. I think ultimately the buck stops with you. Yeah. Again, engage. We've got a great team. I think in normal businesses, you've got the leader here, and everyone just delegates everything upwards. No one can make decisions. Luckily, we don't have that. We've got quite a distributed accountability and
Great.
responsibility, which is fantastic because it means it isn't always, oh, Alex, you've got to make all these big decisions because we're petrified of making them. That doesn't really happen at Engage. Yes, the bigger stuff we'll discuss it. We've got a great board of directors and a great senior leadership team and stuff. So, but there are times when there's just hard decisions to make. If you think in 17 years we've gone through some tough times, right? We started the business financial crisis in 2007, which in hindsight wasn't the greatest time to start a business.
But here you are still.
Well, I guess you learn a lot then, right? So when the time get good again, you're like, can't believe it. Look how easy it is.
Yeah. It's supposed to always be like this.
Yeah. COVID, what a challenge COVID was for anyone in a leader role business. That was so hard. Again, I'm really proud of how we navigated that, but there were a lot of sleepless nights and stresses there. And then the general, the cost of living crisis, and that stuff, and just the general apathy, or the whole UK economy seems to be in the doldrums at the moment. There's not much confidence in UK businesses. I don't think that's going to change over the next 12 months. We've been in a period of a number of years now where the UK has just really felt hard work.
Yeah, stagnant and sticky.
Yeah, and I think that can weigh you down a little bit, over a number of years. So sometimes it's quite hard to jump out of bed every morning and be like, right, I'm going to, talk about energy and excitement and, that I think are important. But sometimes it's quite hard to go in and try and bring that when you look around you like, God, this is hard and it's a real slog. Clients are struggling, you're trying to support them, but then it can be quite tricky. So I guess those things are the hardest, making those tough decisions, because sometimes you have to.
And you're touching on a point there about, like the people in leadership positions also have their own mental health and resilience to take care of when times are hard. Mm-hmm. So what tactics do you use that you find are useful in terms of keeping you resilient and well?
So I've got a good network. I'm in a few networks where I can, speak to other people in similar businesses with similar problems. So I think that's quite helpful. Problem shared is a problem halved and all that. I think keeping fit physically is good. I used to do a lot more exercise. I've got two girls under the age of 3 now. So since having kids, my time to exercise, is limited. I feel like I'm coming out of that a little bit, but there was a period where it definitely dropped off. So now, I try and exercise, 2 or 3 times a week. Not a huge amount, but just enough to keep myself fit. I try and eat healthy. So I'm, wrong side of 40 now, so you just got to keep more of an eye on it. So, but I think, staying healthy, physically healthy is good. And then obviously linked to that, you've got the mental health stuff. So I've done some coaching. I've had some coaches in my time, just mentors and stuff. I've not really done the whole mindfulness stuff. I did try a meditation course a while ago because I was just generally intrigued on that. And actually, I really enjoyed it. I think finding that headspace to just remove the distractions and the noisiness and busyness of the day-to-day life can be quite cathartic. So that was quite good. But I've not really lent into that area too much. And then work-life balance, I guess, comes alongside with that. Just trying to draw strict boundaries. I think pre-kids, I could very easily get drawn back into work mode on evenings and weekends. And I didn't not enjoy it. I
Yeah,
enjoy
yeah,
work and it gives me purpose. But since having children, I've definitely had to not had to, wanted to draw a maybe slightly firmer line there because they're only young once and you can't get that time again. And I think it's
yeah.
important to try and be a present dad as well as the MD and stuff. So, yeah, so there are probably a few things that maybe I think are important.
Brilliant. So looking now to the future, and I know that Engage is obviously a BCorp business, which is amazing, and you've done a lot of thinking about the future. What skills do you think leaders need to have in their toolkit to help keep them future-proofed based on the future that's coming as you see it,
God, the AI
whatever
future,
that might be?
robot overlords are going to rule us.
Yeah,
No, I think empathy is probably quite a big one. I think in a modern day workforce, I
yeah,
think it's more important than ever that you understand and consider people's feelings, other people's perspectives, and the challenges they're facing when you're making those decisions. I think that's important. I think the modern day workforce almost, you know, people, use the phrase snowflake and stuff. I don't believe in that. I just think the modern day workforce is a bit more sensitive and looking for a bit more
mm,
of that. And I think you do need to have that in your toolkit as a leader. I think building trust. I think we're living in a world where trust is getting eroded
oh,
everywhere we look.
yeah,
Look at AI, for example. Soon we won't be able to trust anything we see or read, right? I think trust
mm,
is even more important in the future. So I think building trust over time with a team, they've got to trust you. If you want people to follow you, they've got to trust you. You know,
yeah,
they're putting
yeah,
their
super
working
important.
their working lives in your hands. Their remuneration. Yeah. So I think that's really important. You've got to earn that through just being consistent and delivering on what you say you'll do. Clear communication, I suppose, is a big one. Transparency. Now we're employee owned. There's a
Yes,
real piece about transparency and making everyone, because everyone is an employee owner, everyone is a member of the trust. So that kind of changes things. We were always quite transparent going into that process, but coming out of it, there's probably even more around clarity, communication, and transparency. And I guess another one, maybe going back to the AI piece, is probably adaptability. How do you look at new ideas that either present opportunity or they might also present risks to your business? AI is a good
mm,
example. I'm sure,
mm,
without a doubt, AI is going to present a wealth of opportunity, yeah, for businesses if they're cognizant of it and they're mindful of it. They keep, but also the flip side of that, it's also going to present a huge amount of risk to businesses, and you need to
yeah,
make sure you're in the right camp when it comes, because I don't want to be in the risk camp.
no.
I'd rather be
It
on top.
brings both light and dark, doesn't it, AI, depending on how you decide to interact with it.
Yeah, and I use it. We use it a lot in the day to day. I use it a lot, and I think it's amazing. I do think it's amazing. It genuinely blows my mind. But at the same time, I'm always thinking, God, this is in the early stages. Where's it heading? And
Yeah,
what's the slightly darker side of that? And you can
yeah.
already see there's, people coming out with, who've helped develop these systems and agents and stuff who may be voicing some concerns around what it could turn into. But I think just time will tell there.
So empathy, trust, communication, adaptability. Any others?
Ooh, I think decision making is, I think, probably a big one. I think as a leader, you need to be able to make consistently good decisions, often without all the information you would like to have
Yeah,
necessarily.
yeah,
And I can find that tricky sometimes. I can procrastinate sometimes. Sometimes I look at some people, oh, they're really good at doing that, and yeah, I'm okay at it. I think that's an area I constantly try and refine and work on, just kind of, because I like to have all the information. I'm quite thorough.
yeah. Everybody does.
And I've got 50% of the puzzle, I'm kind of like, oh, I
Yeah,
wish I could find a bit more. So I go out and try and find more, but often I can't. So then you need to just go with your gut. And I suppose guts maybe plays a part. You've got to trust in all that experience.
yeah.
And if you do it for the right reasons and you're caring
And
about
with
the right stuff,
integrity.
yeah, and integrity, then you just do your best, right? And if you make
Yeah,
the wrong decision,
yeah,
then okay, you hold your hands up and you say, sorry, guys, I made the wrong decision. But that builds trust again anyway, doesn't it? So,
yeah, yeah. And learn from it.
yeah.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing that in the leadership space, that like having your intellectual wisdom, but also then learning how to harness your non-intellectual wisdom, like the body wisdom, which you talked about intuition, but gut feel, what your heart says, like having a way of being able to harness that alongside having enough data, definitely a growing theme in leadership space.
Yeah.
So who do you look to for inspiration in terms of being a good leader? Is there anyone out there that you kind of go, oh yeah, I'll take a little bit of their magic and model that?
I was thinking about this one. I think I am not a football fan, right? I'm from Grimsby. You know, it's hard to be a
What
football
league are Grimsby
fan.
in?
I don't even know. But Division One, yeah,
I don't know.
probably listen to this going. I think that's so. But I've always admired Jurgen Klopp just for what he did at Liverpool. I just used to catch bits of him on TV and stuff, and I just used to think, what he achieved for that club was sensational, you know, and they're in a much stronger position now than now he's left than when he arrived. But I think it was just going back to the energy. His energy, his enthusiasm, he used to just kind of just radiate through the television, and the way he used to celebrate his successes, but then he always used to, take the blame when things failed. He didn't. He accepted that, which is great. And he just seemed to create a real family-like culture. And I think the word family is tricky. I don't like to call Engage a family in business and stuff because I think you do things for your family that you probably
Yeah,
wouldn't with work colleagues or businesses shouldn't encourage people to think family-wise because I think people would do things if everyone was family, people might do things in business that you wouldn't actually want
yeah.
because anything.
Imagine all those family dynamics as well in your business. That'd be
Yeah,
fun and games.
but maybe what I mean there is I think you felt like everyone was important in that team, from the star striker through to the guy who's cleaning the boot. So I get the impression that everyone felt like they all were contributing to the success of the overall team. And I
Yeah,
think him as a leader, there was no favoritism. He seemed to just bring everyone on that journey. And I guess just fostering a sense of belonging and a collective responsibility, which obviously translated itself well to the pitch. So yeah, I used to see him and just think he seems like a great guy. Probably good to go for a beer with down the pub
yeah.
as well.
Do you think they modelled Ted Lasso on him?
Do you know what? Maybe I love Ted Lasso. Yeah, I remember someone said, "Do you want to watch Ted Lasso?" They explained it to me. I was like, "There's no way I'll find that." Yeah, I'm not a football fan
Football.
particularly. I
Yeah,
was like, I'm not going to enjoy that whatsoever. I remember watched it. I was like, this is brilliant because
brilliant.
it works
Yeah,
on so many levels. Obviously,
yeah,
football was the vehicle, right? But the
yeah,
actual messaging and stuff, I thought it was great. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Ted Lasso. It's a good shout.
yeah. I love Ted Lasso. So, last couple of questions. What's the best piece of advice you've had as a leader that you could pass on to other people?
I think there's probably a theme through my answers and stuff here, but I think leadership ultimately it's about people, not tasks. So I think if you concentrate on building trust and those really strong relationships, I think you've got a really good foundation there personally. So I think really focus on the people
People.
element
Yeah,
and how you're leading and how you motivate and inspire those people to want to come with you.
I'm a big fan of that. And I have two questions left for you. One of them I've not told you about, so that's my wild card. No pressure. Just to warn you. If you could do any job in the world, what would it be? If you couldn't do what you're doing now, what job would you have?
So I love travel and I actually love photography. I'm kind of an amateur photographer. So if I could combine those into two, I always think National Geographic. I like to read that, and I always think, God, what a great job to just be paid to capture the world's beauty
Yeah,
through that role. And I think I'd really enjoy that. Although maybe I wouldn't as much now because I miss my family. So maybe when I
yeah.
was
You have to take
young.
them with you.
Oh yeah, okay, fine. There we go. A national photographer who also gets paid to take his family with him around the world. There we go.
Perfect. So, my last question that I didn't tell you about, my secret question is what's the question that you think I should be asking on this podcast that I've not actually asked yet?
Oh, about leadership.
Yeah.
Okay. What about, I know. What about, it's a two-part question. You could have,
Oh, lovely.
think of a leader that you personally have worked with in your lifetime and that you admired. What were the qualities they exhibited that made you think they're a good leader? And then conversely, think of a leader who you've worked under who was a really bad leader, and what was it that made them such a bad leader in your opinion? How's
Can
that?
you answer that question?
Um, a good leader. I've had a few clients, good leaders and clients. I remember one guy. He was just one of these people who could sit in a big room and everything they said just cut through the noise, and it just
Mm.
distilled the conversation into a really nice soundbite. And I just used to really admire that, where you could gather all
Yeah.
this crap that's getting thrown around and and bring that back into just a really smart summary that just showed you were really listening and had an ability to condense and refine very
Yeah.
quickly. And through that,
Clarity as
the
well.
guy had a lot of, people really respected him because he wasn't just wasn't just talking all the time. So
Yeah.
he was a good one. That was a quality that guy had. A bad one. I've had a few, not really bad ones. I haven't worked for that many people actually, but I just think leaders just throw their weight around. They lead through fear. They just
Yeah.
lead through, oh, just get it done. They're rude. They're just a bit bolshy, and they just treat their team as employees and not people. And I'm sure they have successful businesses, but at what cost, I suppose. And you
Yeah.
still see a few of those.
Yeah.
They're probably dying out a little bit, but maybe not. You probably have more experience than me, but
They're
I hope they're dying out.
less and less. I do think they're less and less.
I think that
Well, I mean, see what happens with America. I mean, it's growing over there, isn't it?
well, that's true, but I think, yeah, personally, I don't think that's a route to long-term sustained growth through leadership.
No, I don't.
So there you go. Hopefully that's
Very
helpful.
good. And that feels like the theme of this conversation. Like people have run through like a really strong thread throughout the whole thing, like the importance of people doing right by them, building trust, creating an environment where people can thrive, treating them like adults.
There you go. Sounds good.
Mic drop.
When you distill it all, mic drop done.
Oh, that's
Leadership
what that guy did. Amazing.
tick. So yeah,
I'll try to.
that's my personal view on it, which I'm sure will differ to some other guests, but hopefully it was useful.
It was really useful. Thank you so much for your time. I just love what you're doing with Engage. I love that you're leading the way and doing things differently. And I always enjoy our conversations. I always get so much out of it. And I want to know more when I next see you about your acting career.
I'm never going to speak about that again.
Thank
Brilliant.
you
All
very
right.
much. Have a great day.
No, you too, Jack. Thanks, Jen. Take care.